You have potential because God is with us. Because you and I serve the God of the impossible. Luke 1:37 says, "For with God nothing is impossible." Nothing is impossible. So we may look at something, or God may call us to be something or do something, we're like, man, that's not. No, it can happen because of the impossible God that you and I serve. See, the word also says in Ephesians 3:20 that he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we think, come on, or ask. All above. We're thinking one thing, and God's like, man, that's way too small, son. That's way too small. Way too small. See, this is what the angel was speaking to Gideon, and I believe this is what God's speaking to you today. You too are like a Gideon, full of potential. As we begin to fulfill and live out our potential that God's speaking to you, this is what we can't do. We can't allow the echo of any fear or insecurities or even the faults to silence the voice of God. Right? We can't allow the echoes of fears and insecurities and faults that we may have to silence God's voice. We can't dwell on our failures, past or even present. We can't dwell on them. We can't let them determine the direction that we're going to go when God calls. Okay? We can't. We can't dwell on it. We can't worry about the past or even the frailties of what's going on, or that they'll disqualify us from doing what God asks. See, when we surrender, God cleans us up. When we come and say, Lord, I'm all yours, do what you need to do, he deals with that stuff. And sometimes it's a process and sometimes it's immediate, but he deals with it. So we can't allow it to disqualify us from doing God's work. We can't limit God any longer. Take the limits off of God, please. Take the limits off of God in every department or compartment of your life. See, the Israelites, God's people limited him. Even in Psalm 78, verse 41, it says that God's people limited the Holy One of Israel. See, they limited it. They saw the sea part. They saw the bondage being set free, and yet they still limited who he was. We see in Judges and what's going on. Why? Because they didn't remember what he did. Let us never forget what God has done in our lives. Let us never forget what God has done on the cross. Let us never forget what God is doing right now. We cannot put a limit on God in any way, shape, or form. He is the God of the impossible. We gotta get tapped into that. We gotta get connected to that.